Nadia here with Addicted Magazine, talking to Naomi, and I don't want to butcher your last name because people do it to me all the time.
What's the worst that could happen?
Sniekus?
Sneakus. Yeah.
Is that right?
Sneaky. Yeah.
Sneakus, like sneaky. I love it. Well, you don't seem sneaky to me. You seem awesome, and I'm really excited to be chatting with you today. So you are an actress, a comedian. You've kind of done a little bit of everything when it comes to entertainment. How is it that you came to be in this insane but amazing industry?
Like in the acting industry specifically, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. How did I get? You know what? I always knew I wanted to perform, and then my mom, she dabbled in theater when I was a kid, and so there would be these great memories of me falling asleep on the stage while she was rehearsing. And, I thought the whole world of theater was pretty magical.
Oh yeah.
And then, I guess I did a little bit of theater through high school, but not a lot. And then after high school, I was like, I better make sure that this is something that I try before I don't even try it all. Because I think, in the arts, people get so scared about, not being able to make a living out of it, of course, because it's not easy, but that it's a really competitive industry. But, God, I would rather try and realize that it's not going to happen than not try at all. So I gave it, I auditioned for Ryerson Theater School, and when I got in, I called them up and I was like, I would like to hold back for a year, and they were like, you can't do that. I'm like, okay. And then half an hour later, I'm like, I would like to get a teacher certificate from this degree, and they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, okay. So I tried every which way, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Well, I love that. I love that you tried to negotiate your way through it as well. I mean, I 100% agree. You know what? You hit the nail on the head. It's not an easy industry to make your way into. It's not easy to make a living. And I think that that's where a lot of really incredible art comes from, because, the people that do it and do it earnestly are the ones who can create and produce all this amazing stuff, because really you've got the gun to your head at this point. You've got to try.
Well, totally. I knew that I had to try, because if I didn't try it at least and figure out it wasn't what I wanted to do, then I would always regret it, or I'd always long for it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the first week of theater school, I was like, I don't want to do anything else. And as soon as I was in it, I was like, I'm in it.
And you've never looked back.
I never, I've looked back in the world of how am I going to pay my bills? It wasn't how am I going to change careers? I never looked back, because I love it so much. I would rather struggle financially and be able to be creative than not try it all.
I 100% agree, and I think that that's a really, really admirable quality. And, I would have to say that, especially in the Canadian entertainment industry, you must be one of the hardest working gals out there, because I know I've seen you just about everywhere. I've seen you in commercials, I've seen you in different television shows, I've seen you in movies. You've done so many different projects.
It's the curse of the yes and. In improv, you have to say yes to things. So anything that comes my way, I'm like, I'm going to try that. And I know that, for me especially, my brain works really well when I'm multitasking. One feeds the other. So when I'm, doing a podcast and I'm doing, we have a live show here in Los Angeles, but it's going to feed each other, feed our writing and feed our company and feed my personal growth as an artist. I know each one's going to feed each other. And they're not all going to go gangbusters at the same time. If that happens, oh boy, hire some more assistants.
Well, you know what? That wouldn't be too bad of a thing, so let's put that out there. Let's everything go gangbusters at once, and you'll sort it out when it happens. You seem to be pretty self-sufficient that way, which is one of the keys of being in this industry as well.
I like that. You're going to put that out there. We also have a team. I don't know if you know these gals, Jen Polk and Sienna Polanco, who are on our National Theatre of the World team, and they are kick-ass. They're they're those people that I write to and go, can you guys just help me with this project? And they're like, guys, press release out, Twitter, they're all over it, so that helps huge amount.
Oh yeah, having good people in your corner, especially in these kind of creative and also not all that conventional industries, like that's really the kicker. If you've got a good team around you and like-minded people, that's kind of my catchword lately is like-minded. And I think that once you find your kind of your tribe, I guess, you really start to see what you can produce, and the output just really becomes incredible. Speaking of that, the reason why we're talking the Firecracker Department, your new podcast. First of all, love the title. Where
so like that one almost killed me. Like
titles are hard. I hate titling anything. It is 100%. And then you're like rolling it off your tongue and, looking at it in writing. And then like someone makes a comment about it, like, oh, well, and they're not super into it. And you question everything. I hate titles. It's so good for you. That's a good one.
Honestly, it went through all these different, like I was like Women of the World I really liked, the National Theater of the World. But then there's a group already that does that, uses that title. And we were wrestling, and I was like emailing all the powerful women in my life. Like, what do you think? What do you think? And they'd come back with, everybody had different opinions, but nobody across the board liked one.
Yeah.
And then at one point I went, what am I doing? Just go with your gut. Like,
yeah.
I'm such a advocate of going with your instinct and being true to your own thoughts as opposed to asking for permission for your thoughts. Like, I think it's the craziest thing that we go, is it okay if I'm a performer?
Of course.
It's ridiculous, right? So why don't I just go with my gut instinct? And I woke up January 1st, and that was my deadline to get a title. And it was New Year's Day, and I had fallen asleep early the night before and missed it, but got woken up at midnight by fireworks.
Oh, amazing.
And I was like, boom, it's Firecracker Department.
Oh my God, that's such a great story. I love that. When things kind of like fall into your lap like that, like I'm a big believer in fate, and that's fate to me in a nutshell. That's phenomenal. And so
you just have to listen, right?
You have to that's it. Put the vibes out there, and you've also got to be ready to accept the vibes that come back. And clearly you are, because that's a great title that came from a really genuine, I would have to say even organic place, like literally just right around you. I love it. Awesome.
Well, firecrackers are like fun women, and then Department, I just like that there's an organization of fun women.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I kind of took to, almost kind of that gender role reversal of like, fire department, fireman, and, flipping it on its head. That's kind of when I first read it. I didn't even think of the, the fireworks relationship. So now there's two great things going on there. So, and I love that even that's just the way you describe the women that you feature. So tell me about, now we've got the title. Tell me about why it is that you wanted to create this podcast that featured these women, these fellow firecrackers of yours.
Well, I knew Tyler Levine and Caitlin Curcio said over at Carousel Pictures approached me and said, we think you're great, and we'd love you to do a podcast here with us doing one. And I was like that month, I had been ruminating on it, talk about like fate and talking to the universe.
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree with that, because I had been thinking about it. And one of the things I love is talking to women who are inspiring, but also like have gone through. I mean, everybody at any level of success has gone through stuff, but celebrating inspired women. Like my friend Ron Peterson used to say, if you ever want to get fascinated, get fascinated. And I'm so fascinated by these women because they've had to go through stuff to get to where they are. And I think that inspiration just reverberates into the community. So I was excited. I'm excited about sharing those voices and also talking to women past like their bullet point resume of like, this is where I grew up and this is what I do and blah, blah, blah. But like what was tough that emotions to get to where they are. And not so much like, because a lot of journalists are like, what's it like being a woman in comedy? And you're like, really? That's going on 2017. But what's it like to be, like, have a female presence in comedy? I'll take that. It's not being a woman. It's not the gender. It's the presence of the person.
100%. You know what? You just talking about that literally gave me goosebumps. Like how you were thinking about it and then someone approached you with it. Like the hair on my neck stood up. Amazing. And you know what? I agree. Like I think that, someone also who does a lot of interviews and all that, on the side of the question asker, I'm always so concerned about asking those trite questions. So I try really hard to do exactly what you said, just kind of dig past that and, think of all the questions I would hate to get asked and then try not to ask those, because that's how you get the cool stories.
We started and what inspired us to be an actor. But hey, like, what's it like being a female journalist. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
I mean, that's not, what's it like being a male journalist? Well, like, that's a weird question nowadays.
it is 100%
So, I mean,
in this day and age for sure.
and it is still relevant. Like, it is relevant talking about women in our industry because, you know, look, like our government, the American government has told us that is not, we're not as far along as we thought we were.
Oh, 100%.
So now we have to really backpedal a bit and go, no, we got to celebrate, we got to get loud about our voices, and we got to recognize that we are somebody to be supported by everybody. Like, everybody should be flopping down their feminist cards constantly.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's a really important thing, too, that not only your podcast highlights, but it's an important conversation to be having, is that people are afraid of this label, feminism. You know, people are kind of hearkening back to militant feminism, bra burning, and all that stuff. And, you know, so, of course, males can't generally get on board with that. They don't really wear bras, so they don't really have much to burn. So all that type of stuff. So people, I think, need to know that their voices can be part of that conversation without it being a label, without it being, you know, something that they may not have originally been comfortable associating themselves with. And I think that's why it's even more important, too, to tell the stories of these strong and powerful women, because it gives a new face to feminism, and it gives, you know, a lot of that really important feedback that, hey, you know, feminism takes a lot of different forms. You can be male, you can be female, you can be young, you can be old, you can be, you know, a housewife, you can be an actress, you can be this, and just, you know, highlighting these strong women that are accomplishing amazing things just to set these great examples that kind of comes back to that full circle. Hey, if you think this is cool and these are the type of people you want to celebrate, guess what? You're kind of a feminist. And that's, you know, how I think that...
I think people are more proud now of having the feminist card. Like,
I agree.
Male and female. I think that it's changed, and actually, like, Trump has made us go, no, I'm proudly a feminist for either gender. I think that's changing.
I agree.
I mean, look at the turnout at the marches across the world, and you'll know that everybody's like, I want to be part of this.
100%. And I think that it's great that you're, you know, just adding another set of voices and adding more storytelling to that narrative. So back to Firecracker Department, you've got 2 podcasts under your belt now, a third coming out. And, you know, do you have one that's really exciting for you that you've already done, one that's coming up? Is there, you know, kind of a dream interview that you'd like to do? You know, like, what's going on with it? Tell me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every podcast, something happens that, like, that goosebump moment. Something happens that I'm like, oh, that is cool. Like, something that inspires me or, like, makes me feel. We started making, like, mock-up T-shirts because they're all
amazing.
Like
little quotes.
T-shirts.
Nice.
Yeah. But they're so good. And so I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm inspired by each one of the women I speak with. I think the thing for me is because this is new territory for me. Like, I don't do this kind of journalism. Like, this is old hat for you, but for me it's new. Like, I do comedy and shows and improv, and that's all good. I know how to do that. But the world is like delving deeper into people's thoughts, or somebody brings something up and you go back to an open door. Like, I'm learning as I go here. So you'll hear the interviews and you'll be like, that is a poorly formed question. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, and I'm okay to, like, fail.
And I
have to celebrate it.
I wouldn't even call it failure. Like, I would say, you know, like, I've done lots of interviews, and, you know, you can look at the people out there that are you know, they're touted as these expert, amazing interviewers. And the thing that I've always found is the most important is it's a conversation. In the end, as long as you can keep the vibe flowing, and, you know, I used to go in with written down questions and all this research done, and now I kind of I do the research, I get the background, and I just kind of walk in and I'm like, hey, let's talk. And, you know, you get the stories to come out that way.
I like that. I think what I did was the opposite, where I've done the research, I've done the background, I'm like, hey, let's talk. And then those moments where there's nothing to talk about, I'm like, oh, God.
What have I done?
So I think I have to go back and then, like, restructure. But as I said, like, each podcast is going to be different.
100%.
Person.
Yeah.
But I love the fact, like, Carousel Pictures are like, we're behind you. Learn as you go. We support whatever your choices are. So it's a great playground for me to go, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that what I'm doing is worthwhile. And I know that every woman that sits with me is an incredibly interesting person to talk to. So really, I just have to get out of the way.
And you know what? That's kind of the best thing, making sure that it's your subject that shines, and you're just going to draw those great stories out. So, you know, you've got these 3 that are coming out. Is there someone, you know, I'm going to ask that cheesy question, like anyone, living or dead, that you would love to have on this podcast? Is there one person that you can think of that you're like, oh, can I get to their agent?
There's so many. Yeah, there's, gosh.
That's one of the hard ones. I put you on the spot.
It is
Interview or fail.
somebody asked me that before, and I, like, of course I go to my, like, FCTV heroes, like Firecracker and Andrew Martin, because they broke ground for me when I watched them.
Oh, yeah.
But then I also think about, like, to be honest, I think about, I interview my, like, 9-year-old niece in one of my podcasts coming up, and I find that really interesting. Like, I want to talk to women that are, like 12 and teenagers, and then, you know, like, women that have been around for a long time. Like, I would have loved to talk to somebody like Jenny, oh my God, Jenny Eastwood. I did talk to, like, Robin Duke will be interesting to talk to people that have gone through many a boys' club and survived as a powerful woman. Like, Maya Arnold, a woman that I totally am inspired by. She's, like, in the theater world more so, but she was on Wind at My Back, and she was the artistic director at Young People's Theater.
Right.
And, like, sidebar off record, I dated her son for a long time.
Oh.
I was privy to her, like, power and her, like, coming home from Young People's Theaters. Like, this is different. This has to change, and I'm going to make it change. Like, I was so jazzed by that.
And you know what? Those are the women too. You know, like they're kind of the unsung heroes. You know, it's not a name that you would hear in popular culture, but they've laid the foundation for you know the women that we are today, and you know these barriers that have already been broken. Yes, you know, you made the point earlier that you know we're almost kind of taking 2 steps back right now, but the ground you know has been broken for us, and we just need to keep doing that digging. And it's these women that also need to be celebrated. And I love also what you said about interviewing your niece. You know, like interview these ladies in training that are you know kind of coming up in this new world.
I know, she had the best pose. Okay, wait, I have 2 things to say to you. My little niece, I said, what's your advice to, like, women in the industry? She's a singer, but she's not in the industry. She's a 9-year-old.
Right.
But, like, she said, I think they should just do what they want to do.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, right? I love the purity of, like, well, why would we ever let anybody stop us from doing what we want to do? Like, if I'm passionate about, like, acting or comedy, I will never let somebody say I can't do that. I'll just go and do it. It's my job to create that one. In the same, we work, like, improv. We teach corporate and improv workshops. And one of the things we do is teach, like, postgraduate people about their speaking abilities and getting into a room. And one of the things I noticed is, like, this is something you spent your years and, like, blood, sweat, and tears on your thesis. Why would you not stand up straight and shout what you believe in? Like, why would we...
Like, why do you need someone to teach you how to do that?
Yeah.
No, I feel you on that.
Yeah. So I think I'm curious of people's different ages, but I'm also curious of people in different walks of life, too, like behind the camera, in front of the camera, to the side of the camera, all around the camera.
Oh my God, I love it. And I think that, you know what, this is a very, very important piece of work that you're doing because you are, you know, the unsung heroes are going to get their moment. The up-and-comers are going to get their moment. You know, the veterans are going to get their moment. Like, the fact that you're casting such a wide net will just, you know, you're going to have so many heroes that you're going to get to celebrate on this podcast. And I think that that's amazing.
I could do 3 a day right now and not run out of women.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just trying to find people. We're trying to book the next round of interviews, and I'm like, I want to interview so many people. The list has like 200 people so far. We just have to keep sifting through. That's
incredible. Well, you know what? I may start knocking down your door to get myself added to that list because I would love to have a glass of wine with you in your California Hollywood Hills home and talk about everything.
Yeah, I love all that stuff. I think it's important. I think that, like, we have to recognize, like, where we've come from and know where we're going and keep our eye on the prize.
Oh, wow. That right there. Can you put that on a shirt? Because that's quote-worthy right there. Honestly. And just circling back actually to having, you know, what is it like bringing these women into your home and sitting down and just talking like old girlfriends? Like, was that the whole idea to start, you know, the podcast that way?
Yeah, some of them are in the house. Sometimes I go to them and sometimes they're in the studio. But there's always like a glass of wine and cheese, so we're all sort of hanging out. So it doesn't feel like we're not wearing earphones.
No.
Or shooting the shit, so to say. But yeah, it sets it up for a different kind of podcast right away. When you sit down across a glass of wine and go, hey, I'm really glad you're here. Here we go.
Yeah, the old tongue loosener really makes for some good content, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Everything's always a bit better with a glass of wine, isn't it?
Well, it makes me feel like we're just padding his fence as opposed to something that has official quality to it.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think that, the more comfortable you can make a scenario, the better the interview will be and the better content you'll have. That is all amazing. I'm really excited for you and all the awesome stuff you're going to be doing.
I'm excited too. We travel a lot, so there's some women that I'm going to get to talk to. Like, I have a friend in Israel that I really want to speak to, and then next time we're at a festival where she's at, I'll talk to her. So it's also like being able to talk to people in California and Toronto and all around the world. So it's not just, and like ethnicities, I want to blow out all boundaries. Because a lot of times when we do these kind of things, we're like Canadian artists and blah, but I'm like, I love Canadian artists. My God, I am one, and we have to support them. But I also want to blow it open to wherever I go, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Why ever limit yourself, honestly? Like, you could change this to the No Limits podcast, like it's all about, the only limits that you have are the ones that are in your mind. And if you're already traveling, you're already running around, why not talk to everybody from all corners of the world? And I think that you're just going to get even more cool stories from that. And hey, like, imagine all the different places you can sit down and drink wine and have fun with a cool girl. Like, that's all these men around the world are going to be super jealous of you. You're basically going on the most awesome first date over and over and over and over and over again, and then recording it. Well, I'm looking forward to our first date. Hopefully it happens at some point. I guess this is our first date, kind of, Naomi, I love it. I want to be a firecracker. Well, we always wrap up these interviews with awesome ladies like yourself by talking about, why I started this magazine with my good friend. It all came out of kind of the negative of an addiction issue. So, part of my good friend who was suffering from addiction, his therapy was to think about all the positive addictions someone can have in this world. And, it drove him to start this magazine. He asked me to come on board, and here I am having awesome conversations with people like you. So I always like to bring it back to where it all started and ask, if you were to pick a positive addiction, what would that be?
On my life right now, I just watch my dogs throw up on the carpet.
I have cats that throw up literally constantly. Not a positive addiction, I would say, but
I do love my dogs regardless of their throw up.
Yeah. It's a throw up only a mother can love. It's true.
I would say creation. Like, I would say a big addicted to being creative, and I would say addicted to laughter. Like, I remember going through a really tricky time in my life, and thinking the only thing that made sense to me was laughter.
Yeah.
Like, across the board, if somebody is, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, that laughter is something we can all agree on being a positive thing. So that's good for me, I think. That's why I love performing live so much. You get to see people, like, really enjoy whatever laughter gift you give them.
Laughter gifts. I love that. You are the giver of laughter gifts. That is a fantastic addiction, and I sincerely hope you get to indulge it for many, many, many years to come. Thank you so much, Naomi. This was fantastic. I really appreciate taking the time. Oh my God, you're such a doll. I really hope we get to have wine together. You're so sweet. Thank you.